Good evening. I'd like to call the Admin and Finance Committee to order. Before we begin, I'd like to start at the very bottom for the introduction of counselors to the left or right, whoever wants to go first. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Councilor Mike Dilk, District 24.
Good evening, Paul Arnay, District 23.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Josh Bain, representing District 20 on the southwest side.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. John Barth, representing District 7.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Keith Graves, District 13, East Side.
Good evening, Chairman. Councilor Krista Carlino, District 6, West Side.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jason Larison, District 12 on the East Side.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Lakeisha Jackson, Councilor on District 14, representing Warren and Lawrence Townships.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maggie Lewis, District 10.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. David Ray, District 19 on the East Side.
Thank you. Frank Mascari, District 21. We have really a short agenda. We have 3 items. First up is Proposal 205 appoints Holly Harrington to the Indianapolis, Marion County Authority of Board of Trustees. I understand it's your birthday. Yes, you came all the way down here for this. Holly, step up on your birthday and tell us a little bit about yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Holly Harrington. I am the Senior Director of Supplier Diversity and Diversity Officer for the Indianapolis Airport. I'm very happy today to celebrate my 54th birthday, and yeah, like I said, we look great. So just honored to be considered to be a trustee for the Building Authority Board. I've been in Indianapolis for over 30 years, was brought here by Eli Lilly and Company, and then transitioned into the airport. A mechanical engineer by background, so I'm very familiar with capital projects and building initiatives in the pharma industry, but in being here over the last 30 years, this is home now, and I'm very committed to this community.
Thank you for volunteering. Any questions from the counselors? Come on, guys. Go ahead.
No questions. I was going to make a motion.
Go ahead.
I move proposal number 205 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Second, Mr. Chairman.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor of moving proposal 205, full council say aye. Aye. Those opposed? None. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Up next is 2 proposals. Do we want to put these together? The presentation, is it for both, Sarah?
I'm here for proposal 244, which includes authorization for 2 separate bond issuances. I think they would go together.
Okay, go ahead and do your proposal. This is on proposal 242, which approves an additional appropriation of $250,000 of the 2022 budget for the Marion County Information Services Agency Enhanced
Mr. Chairman?
Fund. Go ahead, yes.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman. I'm here on 244, not 220, whatever.
Oh, we're going to do
ISA's
244
here.
First? Okay, go ahead.
Yes.
That's fine.
I'm happy to wait for ISA to go first. I don't know.
Let's do 242 first. This the finance implementing closed captioning all live and post programming channel 16s. Who's here to present that? All right, thank you, Ali. Councilor Brown.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm excited to be here, colleagues, to present to you proposal 242. This will make channel 16 closed captioned, live closed captioned, along with all the different meetings that we've already had. They will go back and closed caption that. This will cover that cost, and then it will be looked going forward into the budget in future years. This is a step to making our city and our government more accessible to people who are deaf and hard of hearing. And there are people from LSA, and we have members of the deaf and hard of hearing community here who also would like to just ask for your support on this bill.
Thank you.
My name is Colin Hill. I'm the CTO for ISA. Recently this year, Channel 16 came under ISJ's purview. Just wanted to take a moment to introduce this after Councilor Brown's support for this, and apologies. we're looking very forward to the closed captioning initiative, and I'm going to hand it over to Ken now. Thank you, Ken.
Good afternoon, councilors. I'm Ken Montgomery from Channel 16. I'm the manager of the station, and we're very pleased to be presenting this proposal today. This is using enhanced access funds that ISA has the privilege to use at its discretion with the council's approval, because the council does have to approve all these fiscal ordinances. And what we are looking at doing is actually purchasing 3 different captioning machines or devices so that all of the live meetings and the tape delayed meetings that we produce can be closed captioned. And the beauty part is not only will that be closed captioned in English, it will also simultaneously, both live and delayed, it will also be closed captioned in Spanish. So we're actually reaching out to and addressing the needs of 2 different communities within the Marion County, and any of our viewers for that matter, because this captioning will be seen on our live streams, it will be seen on television on Channel 16 and our government TV2 channel on all of the cable companies here in Marion County, and AT&T statewide. And it will also be available to anyone streaming who is watching it worldwide. So the captioning will be completely available on all of our formats that we're recording on and for our archives. Now, I do want to clarify one thing. It is not our intention, it is our intention to caption things going forward. We do not have a strategic plan in place to go back and caption programs from the past that have already been done. We will have the capability of doing that, and we can do it on selective basis. So if we get requests saying, can we get a city council meeting from a particular date, we can easily caption that. But to go back and do the volume, we produce over 700 hours of programming a year, just ourselves. And to do 700 hours a year, back timing would be a very labor-extensive process. So what we're moving towards is to moving forward, once we get the new equipment installed, that all the captions would be available on all programming going forward from that day. So I did want to clarify that one thing, and I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. This is a great idea. On the closed captioning, does it just automatically capture it and decipher it? I know, in other words, when you speak, does it automatically understand it and bring it up?
Correct. What we are targeting are a series of products from the Link company, Link Electronics. They're considered to be one of the leaders in this type of technology, and they have weekly updates to their vocabulary, both in Spanish and in English, that come out. It's got over 400,000 words in the vocabulary in each language right now, and those are continually updated so that more language gets included, and the captions, if you will, become even more accurate. The other feature that these captioning machines have is they have voice recognition, so once it learns who's speaking, it can say President Osley, and it gives what he's saying. So during live meetings, or tape delayed meetings for that matter, it will actually begin to identify the names of the individuals who are speaking, and so people will have even that much more knowledge about what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. Any other questions from any of the councilors? Councilor Mallory.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Kind of piggybacking off his question, what happens when it can't decipher? Say it's jumbled up, or they're not speaking clearly enough. What happens in that situation?
We can go in afterwards and clarify some of the jumbles, if you will, although they do boast of a 97% accuracy rate on its captioning on what the language is. And the key is we have to have clean dialogue, clean audio. So if we had a lot of background noise, it can become interfering to the machine hearing what the voices are actually saying. But like my voice right here coming through nice and clear on this microphone, it would have no trouble picking me up and discerning what I'm saying word by word.
I appreciate that. So you mentioned that if there's background noise, that it may have trouble. And I know I've sat in the seat, many times, and we've had background noise. Is it like loud background noise, or is it just any background noise? Because I think this is a good idea. I wanted to make sure I understand it fully.
It would be probably loud background noise. If we were in a very noisy environment and trying to conduct a meeting, you probably wouldn't be in that kind of an environment anyway, having a meeting. But if there was loud sound out on the street outside, sirens going by, it might intrude for a moment on the captioning in that way. But most of the time, the room here, we've got the audio hums and that sort of thing really tamped down to where you don't get that kind of interference anymore. So unless we were out at a press conference, say, with busy traffic in the background, it might have more of a trouble discerning the language there. But even though, as long as we're good at putting our microphones pretty close to where everybody's at, it should read just fine.
Thank you.
Any other questions from any other counselors? Councilor Barth.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I actually don't have a question, an operational question. I just have a comment for Councilor Brown. A, thank you for doing this. This is an important proposal. And B, with her permission, I'd like to go on as a co-sponsor.
Councilor Carlino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would concur with my colleague here. I am personally looking forward to this. I don't sit on every committee. My colleagues don't sit on every committee, but I do watch a lot of meetings back. And this is going to be a great help for me in the work that I do on behalf of my constituents in District 6. So thank you, Councilor Brown. I too would like to be added as a co-sponsor, Mr. Chair.
Any comments from the public?
Yes, hello. This is my first time here doing anything like this. My name is Andy Leffler, and I serve on the mayor's office for disability. I'm on that council, and I've been there almost 10 years. So it's a great service for the city of Indianapolis. And you would be amazed at how large the deaf community is here in Indianapolis. This is the heart of Indiana. The deaf school is here. There's a lot of job opportunities for deaf people here. And I know that there are a lot of deaf people here, and not just deaf people. I mean, if you look at how many hard of hearing people are here, you know, I mean, even your parents or grandparents, you notice as people get older, they lose hearing. And 35% of senior citizens have lost their hearing. And we also have veterans. If you go to the VFW meetings, you're going to see almost everybody there with a hearing aid. So could you imagine trying to understand what's going on TV with no captioning? I mean, you're lost. And we're often to be the last people to find out what's going on. We have to find out from somebody else. And with your help and your support of making this captioning available for everyone, that's going to help us not feel like second-class citizens, that we will be more on an equal par with everybody else with what's going on in the city of Indianapolis. Thank you so much for your time and efforts, and I hope you support this bill.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any other comments from the public? Seeing none. Yeah, Councilor, go ahead.
Just proposal sponsors, and then Ken, I just want to thank you guys for this proposal and the work that you guys do. Channel 16 have been phenomenal since I've been to council, and your coverage and behind the scenes. I don't think we guys give you enough credit for the work that you do, because mostly you are behind the scenes. You help make all this happen. My mom, it has the opportunity afforded, especially through COVID, to see, and she watches and be engaged. She is a senior and watches this, and sometimes the audio goes out, and she says, she texts me, I can't hear. What are you guys doing? I can see what's going on, but I can't hear. So it is very important for us to be able to relate to our folks that are at home, that are impaired, and that need our services and want to be engaged and be part of it. And I like what she said, that are not felt like second-class citizens, that are part of who we are, and all our constituents feeling like first-class citizens. So thank you for that comment. Thank you for those who are here today, and thank you for those who made this bill, this proposal possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Councilor Lewis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move proposal number 242 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
Seconds.
It's moved and seconded. All those in favor of proposal 242 say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Thank you very much, and this is going to be very exciting for our community. Up next is Proposal 244. It authorizes insurance of one or more series of City of Indianapolis economic development taxation increment revenue refunding bonds. Now, let's backspace here. Are these strictly TIF bonds? Or is
Yes,
it
Mr.
two
Chairman.
different things?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, TIF bonds.
Okay, go ahead. Sarah, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, members of the committee. It's been a while since we have been here, and it's nice to see everyone. My name is Sarah Reardon from the Bond Bank. I have a number of my team here who I will introduce shortly. As you know, part of our function at the Bond Bank is not only to borrow money, but also to keep an eye on our debts and to manage our debt portfolio, not only of the City of Indianapolis, but of the other qualified entities. And as part of our management of that debt portfolio, we keep an eye on bonds that are ripe for refunding. And we have been before you on many occasions over the last several years to seek your approval to do a refunding of a bond issuance or issuances. And we are here tonight again with that for Proposal 244. I want to emphasize this is not new money. This is a refunding or a refinancing, which is structurally pretty similar to if you were to go out and refinance your mortgage, which is something that you might do if you find yourself in an interest rate that is more favorable than the one in which you undertook your mortgage. So that's why we're here tonight. There are two series of bonds that are ripe for refunding or about to be ripe for refunding. The first is the 2013 F series, and the second is the 2014 A series. And so we are asking you to authorize the bond bank to go into the market and to seek refunding on these bonds. I'll give you a bit of detail on that and try to be brief. Again, these will be refunding bonds. They will have a pledge of the consolidated downtown TIF revenue, which is the existing pledge, and that will include the city's moral obligation pledge. It will include an issuance not to exceed a par amount of $88 million, which would be issued in one or more series. Again, this will be secured by the consolidated TIF, the downtown TIF, and the proceeds of these bonds will go to fund a debt service reserve, which is typically 1 year's debt service. And the final maturity of these bonds would be in 1st of February in 2031, so a little under 10 years. And we are asking for the approval of a rate not to exceed 6.5%. That's a placeholder, not to exceed. We can do better than that, but we always ask you to authorize something over and above what the anticipated interest rate is. And again, the use of these funds is not for new expenditures, it's merely to refund existing debt. A little background on both series of bonds. The 2013 Fs were issued back in 2013 in the amount of $45 million and change to finance a number of downtown economic development projects. The amount outstanding on those bonds is $41.9 million. The call date on those bonds is February 1st, 2023. The average coupon on those bonds is 5%. We believe that we can refinance these bonds at a rate lower than that will result in some net present value savings, which we will discuss in just a second. The 2014 As were issued just short of $48 million, again, to finance a number of downtown economic development projects. The outstanding amount is just over $40 million, and the average coupon on those bonds is just under 5%. The call date on those bonds is a little bit later, February 1st, 2024. Those are not currently within the current refunding window, but we are seeking your approval now so that we have options going forward. One would be to do an advance refunding, or to do a forward refunding, or to wait until the time next year when the interest rates are right so that we can go ahead and do it as a current refunding. And that would be sometime in 2023. So the reason for refunding these bonds is because our financial advisors and our counsel have recommended that we can do so and save some money. The bond bank has a policy for refundings. We don't just refund it unless the juice will be worth the squeeze. So we have a minimum floor of 3% net present value savings, or we don't do the refunding. With respect to the 2013 Fs, the estimated present value savings of about $4.4 million, or 10.4%. So that's certainly well over our threshold amount for doing a refunding. The final maturity of the refunded bonds would be in 2030. And then with the 2014 A's, the present value savings are estimated to be approximately $2.6 million or 6.5% overall. And the final maturity on those would be February 1st, 2031. So we're looking to secure some savings that are worthwhile and something that we believe is in the best interest of the city to do that. Obviously, the bond bank will be acting as the conduit issuer for the city of Indianapolis. I've got members of my team, including Senior Project Manager Karen Strunk. I have my Associate Director and Compliance Officer, Kyle J. Willis, and our Deputy General Counsel, David Lichtenberger. Our municipal advisors are the capable women of Crow, who are in the back row. And they are the ones who have been working with us every step of the way to ensure that this is something that will be in our best interest. Our bond counsel is Mr. Michael Allen of Ice Miller, and our senior managing underwriter is Stiefel, which is a national firm but has a local office. So that would conclude my comments. We have some information about our proposed timeline, and this would enable us to get final approval from the bond bank next month. And we have a little page at the end with a market update. And I will go more deeply into that if you like, or ask our advisors to go into that if you like. That's my presentation, and I would be happy to take questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. You know, you refer to this downtown TIF. This is the super TIF, correct? The most producing TIF that we have, is this correct?
Well, there are a couple of ways to measure that, but in terms of the amount of revenue that is generated in the downtown tax increment financing district, yes, it is the largest.
What does it produce?
I don't know.
Oh, come on.
Honestly, I wish I did. I don't know that answer right now, but
Okay.
maybe Crow can help us answer. But one thing I will say that is responsive to that question is that when we go out and borrow new debt or when we refinance debt, we like to maintain, in fact, I think in some instances, we are required to maintain at least 125% coverage, which is basically 125% more revenue than we are bonding.
Okay. Any questions from the councilors? Yes, Councilor Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say, Director Reardon, when you first started, I questioned not maybe your role, but how we were going to track, you know, when these types of deals happen, and you assured me that you would, and you've been on it so far. You told us you come back to this body many of times and what we need, and now you're coming back here again to on this to actually refund, and that's, I think, these are the kind of things as council we need to hear and see, and you've been balancing that. So I just want to thank you so much for your work and your leadership and your role. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Councilor Mallory.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for clarification, if things go sideways and the interest rate hikes up, we are good to stay where we're at, though, currently, right?
Right. I mean, we will only do these refundings if they are in the money or if they are favorable to us, certainly. I mean, we wouldn't restructure debt that would have us be worse off. So what we're seeking is your approval, and we're doing that in advance, I think partly so that we can be flexible, we can be nimble when the time is right, we can go into the market, we can issue the debt and make the best of it.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions from any other councilors? Seeing that, anyone from the public would like to ask about this? Seeing none?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move proposal number 244 to the full council with a due pass recommendation.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? All right. Is there any new business for this committee? Seeing none, we are adjourned.